Oh, Big Mek.
What?
Oh, Big Mek.
What?
Oh, Big Mek.
What?
Isn't it time for the news?
Is it Squid Day already? Wow! Welcome back to the Random Ones Go Fast. Old Big Mek here, and it's time again for the news. And for those of you that haven't been following along with the news, it's our weekly program where we talk about the three biggest stories in the whole Warhammer hobby for the week. So let's get into it. So this week's three big stories are Warhammer video games, Kill Team, and Agents of the Imperium. We're going to start off with the video games. We actually have multiple video games, but there's been news in kind of three different games, but it's all the Warhammer genre of video gaming, and I thought that we'd just squish it together into a super story. All right, first and foremost, Space Marine 2 is definitely getting hot. We had a leak of some gameplay stuff. Everybody, ignored that as they should. But we got official trailers this week. We got announcements about co-op and multiplayer and all that kind of stuff. So if you are excited for that game, it has definitely been a good week for official news and to get pumped up about it. As we covered last week in the news, Speed Freaks, the best orc video game of all time yet, which just took the crown from Shooters Blood and Teeth, although I'm not sure. They're really, really good. But anyway, Speed Freaks is finally out. If you're unfamiliar with Speed Freaks, it is a wasteland multiplayer massive buggy battle. So it's like old school Interstate 76. You drive around in the buggies, you shoot things and blow things up. When you die, you don't get out of the buggy or anything like that. You just respawn as a buggy again. So you're playing as the vehicle. It's fantastic fun. It's on Steam. It's totally free. I absolutely recommend you check it out. I'm terrible at video games. I haven't played video games with any kind of competency in a couple of decades, and I'm loving it and having a great time, even though I explode in a hilarious death about every 10 seconds. Still totally worth checking out. It is only on PC for right now. I don't know if there's any plans of porting it to console, but again, it's on Steam. It's free. The requirements are pretty darn reasonable. I mean, my computer is older than dirt, and it runs it just great. So yeah, if you have any kind of laptop, you don't need like a gaming computer or anything like that, so definitely check that out. The third of the mega story about Warhammer video games is Warhammer mobile games. There are quite a bit of Warhammer mobile games. The biggest, most well-known one is probably Tacticus, and Tacticus has been doing really well as of late. They've got a bunch of things going on right now, and it's kind of a lot of fun to play. And even though the game very much has this steep part of it where it feels very pay to play, I can tell you I have not spent one solitary tooth on that game. I let my grots grind away at it for some grindy things. I go in and do the really hard battles for them, and it's been a lot of fun for, again, no teeth. But why I mentioned Tacticus is that one isn't actually the news. The news is Warhammer Combat Cards. Warhammer Combat Cards, I think, is one of, if not the original, actual officially licensed Warhammer mobile games. And it's an interesting game. It's a card game. You do 3 cards at a time. They attack straight ahead unless you have a special ability. There's a lot of tactics actually involved with it, and they're actually really tied in with the lore. Your snipers definitely do sniping. Your orcs definitely play like orcs. Your Necrons keep coming back to life. It's, for a card game, it's actually really well thought out. Now, that game I have spent some teeth on, but they do these really neat, for $8 you get a monthly super pass, and it's faction focused. So one month they've had Adeptus Sororitas, one month they've had Blood Angels, one month they've had I don't know, just all sorts of things, like literally all sorts of things. I have obviously not bought every month at all. They did an Orc month that I bought. They did a Space Marine month, an Ultramarines month that DeBestrat loved, and a Shadow Sun that the other DeBestrat loved. So yeah, I kind of pick and choose. Maybe 3 or 4 a year that I do that on. But that's it. I don't buy any packages. I don't buy anything else. But the big story part of this is this game had their 5 year anniversary. Think about that. This mobile game, Warhammer Combat Cards, predates COVID. That's how old it is. So that's pretty darn cool. They had a big 5th anniversary celebration with a bunch of new features, one of which being wild cards, which has been like the #1 most asked about thing in the community. Unfortunately, there was a little hitch, and the new programming that they came up with for all of the new stuff really, frankly, bricked the game. And for a couple of days, it was totally unplayable. But the devs are amazing, and they're doing the right thing, and they are, all of their special birthday activities, they scooched back so that everybody had an opportunity to actually do them once they got the code fixed. So yeah, it's a really fun game. If you haven't given that one a try and you do like mobile games, I'd recommend that one. And again, you don't have to spend any teeth at all to be competitive or have fun with it. And that one, there is not as much of a power difference as there in Tacticus. So it's kind of interesting. Tacticus is this like really well polished game that pretty much always works and looks very premium, but you got to pay money, or you feel like you got to pay money to really be competitive with it. Whereas Combat Cards, you don't really have to pay any money, but it's really well polished gameplay wise, even though the server's kind of wonky. I don't know. They're kind of polar opposite games. They're very, very interesting. Yeah, if you're into mobile games at all, I definitely recommend checking those two out. But yeah, just a really big week for Warhammer video gaming. Story number 2 is Agents of the Imperium. These little guys right here, your Inquisitors and their forces. That, of course, was the big codex that was hidden on the codex roadmap. And this week they actually dropped. So you can order the battle forces. There's 3 different ones. You can get the codex, and there's been a number of Warhammer community articles about the Agents of the Imperium, both how they work as a standalone army and how they work as an attachment to other armies. As a player that has multiple Imperial armies, which I believe a lot of us do, I've got Astra Militarum, and then I've got Space Marines, and frankly, I've got a lot of random stuff that ended up becoming Agents of the Imperium. So obviously, Inquisitor, like this one here, I've got a couple of those, some generic ones, some named ones like Kyria Draxus there, as well as like the Navy Breacher team from the Kill Team set, and the funky Inquisitor kill team that is like the rebox from the Blackstone Fortress stuff, Breacher team, stuff like that. Like all of these random things that I've been buying, kind of like for my Imperial Guard army, suddenly are all part of this Agents of the Imperium. And it's actually really, really intriguing from a collector standpoint like that. When you look at the codex and you think about what it contains, you can play with Grey Knights, you can play with a couple of different Imperial Guard adjacent type units, you can play with Death Watch, and you can play with Adeptus Sororitas, all with your Inquisitorial Warband. So if you like General Imperium, but you're not real sure what faction you want to get into, this actually looks really, really intriguing. And if you do already play, Imperial forces or multiple Imperial forces, picking this codex up as a way to attach on different flavorful units seems really, really cool. I haven't been this excited about a codex in a long while, or an army kind of shake up. I know that there's some hurt feelings over Death Watch, and obviously we're missing codexes for some big armies like the Astra Militarum, but as a fun release, it's really cool. And frankly, the battle forces are really rad. Obviously, if you already own these armies, they're not as good, but most battle forces are like that. That's not their point. The point of a battle force is, I don't own this army at all, I really want to own it. What are the coolest things that I want to go get, throw them all in the box, put them together, and then boom, Bob's your uncle. You get the one box, and it is a great start to an army. It's not necessarily designed to fit in to a pre-existing army. So frankly, there's the one that has Kyria Draxus in it, and it has a lot of the units that I already have, right? So for example, I don't really want that one, but the one with the Sisters of Battle in it, not having any Sisters stuff, that one actually looks really intriguing. So yeah, just very, very interesting boxes, very, very interesting codex, and I'm excited to see this one come out from a gameplay standpoint for filthy casuals like myself, as well as like lore and just kind of general army building and collecting, that this is going to allow people that are a little scatterbrained, a little ADHD about what Imperial stuff they're buying, that now they can suddenly run it as this cohesive army, or at least be able to attach some things together to make an army out of all their random purchases. And that is a good thing. All right, and finally, I want to talk about the new Kill Team trailer that dropped. Obviously, we've all seen it. It's on the Warhammer community site. It's all of, 16 seconds long, but it clearly shows some jump pack Imperial Guard. Unfortunately, they are not Elysian drop troops. That would have been way insane. They are just the Adeptus Arbites, whatever they are, the regular jump pack guys. They're not Elysians, but still, we're gonna get new jump pack troops for Imperial Guard for sure. But I think there's a lot more to it. So we've been hearing rumors for a long time now about different new units coming out in this round of Kill Team. And I think Games Workshop has finally figured this Kill Team /40K thing out. When Kill Team first came out, they were reboxes of units that were already out there. Like Reavers and some Tau Breachers. Like, there wasn't anything special. And they kind of had these first few boxes that didn't really do much of anything. Then when they relaunched Kill Team with 2.0, and they had the absolutely just exquisite Octarius box that had the all-new Death Corps of Krieg and the all-new Orc Commandos and the all-new terrain, they really hit the nail on the head, and that's when Kill Team exploded. And what they have done since then is some boxes will have a new or even two new units in it, and other boxes will have a unit or two that is an older unit, but they've kind of rehashed a little with an extra frame, an extra sprue to spruce up the unit. And that's actually been really cool. What they kind of went through at first was getting everybody's sneaky, scouty, like, go out, do special ops kind of thing units out. So like, we got Space Marine Scouts revamped, which is really cool. We got Striking Scorpions for the Eldari, which is amazing. Obviously the Commandos and the Death Corps of Krieg that we already talked about. And there's just multiple instances like that where you're getting these sneaky, behind the lines, infiltrating type units. Then they kind of stopped because they didn't really know what to do next. And I think they finally kind of gotten their gears together and go, okay, we're going to use Kill Team as the way to refresh a type of unit for every army, or almost every army, in order to get those units out without waiting for the codex or having to like jam it in. Because obviously they're trying to turn out codexes fast right now in 10th edition. There's a lot of armies that are only getting a single model, Orcs included, so that they can get them out there. But there's a lot of models that need to be done. For example, in jump pack troops alone, okay, Swooping Hawks for the Craft Roll Eldar, Scourges for the Drukari. Those units are getting pretty old. They need to be redone, especially the Hawks. The jump pack Imperial Guard, obviously, but then there's also other ones that, if you really kind of think about it, the Orc jump pack troops, they are a pretty old kit, and they're only 5 to a kit, and they're the older style Orcs. I could see them replacing that one. Then you've got sneaky kits like Warp Spiders. Warp Spiders aren't jump pack, that's like what Swooping Hawks do, but they do jump around in that same way, and it would be a great way to get those other two aspects finally finished by having them in these Kill Team boxes. And yeah, there's a bunch of armies out there that still need their jump pack troops redone, or could use a fresh one or a fresh take on them, or maybe don't even have them at all. And yeah, so like, okay, let's go through and we'll do everybody's jump pack troops, and then in the next season of Kill Team they'll go to a different troop type. Maybe they'll do like the heavy weapons guys, and it'll be like some blow up giant buildings type Demolition Man thing, and we'll get, I don't know, tank busters. But no matter what they do with it, the fact that this season is definitely going to be drop troops, it is going to focus on aerial combat. I'm really excited to see what units they come out with. I'm really excited to see what they do with terrain, because Kill Team has been an absolute Gork and Morksend for terrain. All of the best Warhammer terrain to come out in the last 5 years has come out of Kill Team boxes. You can see almost all of them right there, right? They really are the best for that. So all 40k players are really excited for this new season of Kill Team and to see what happens and see what units we get and what terrain we get. All right, that is all the things you need to know about for this week in Warhammer news, and I really appreciate you stopping by and spending a couple minutes with old Big Mek for it. So yeah, only one thing left to do, and you know what it is. It's time to walk on! Hey, Beskrat!
What?
Hey, Beskrat!
What?
Hey, Beskrat!
What?
Isn't it time for the news?
It's Squid Day already?